coming back to tomorrow. Who likes roller coasters? Anyone here like roller coasters still? Yeah. So I never really liked them. I rode them as a kid and even into my 20s, but I'm at the age now where like I'm good on the ground looking at the thing. Like I could feel the vibrations. I have an idea of what you're feeling, and I got more anxiety on the ground than if I got on this thing. What I don't like is when you get on and then they put the harness over you and you're stuck. You're stuck. And that's what I don't like, that I have no control and I'm stuck. And so the whole time we're waiting to launch, I'm like, man, I should probably get off. I should just tell the guy right now I should get off. I don't want to get off. I don't want to be on this thing, you know. And then you go and then you're I'm playing mind tricks with myself. I'm like, no, it's good. It's going to be fun. And I'm like, I want to get off right now. I want to get off. And I'm like, I can't get off, you know, I can't get off. And then you go down and you loop and you're like, yay, kind of, you know. In the same thing again, next ride, I'm like, man, I'm stuck. Kids, as we're talking about bringing order to our parenting, kids are like roller coasters. Having children is like roller coasters. And I don't mean the ups and downs of life, the joy and the sorrow. I mean, you're stuck. There's no getting off of this ride. Once you have these things, that's it, man. They're not like cars. You can't go and trade one in. They're not like houses. You can't upgrade them. Like if you got a bad kid, you got a bad kid. You're stuck. You can't bring them back and say, hey, this one ain't working. Can I get that one? It's like a roller coaster ride. Now, yeah, there's ups and downs and joys and tears and laughters, but you're stuck. There's no days off as a parent. Right? Parenting is challenging. You can't call in sick. Like I was here till midnight. I barely slept. My wife is pregnant enough to where like she's really pregnant, you know, 9 months, we're there. She's gonna have a baby sometime soon. That's how pregnant she is. But like I can't go home and be like, I'm tired. I'm sick. I had a rough day. I'm angry, I'm this, I'm that. It's like, no, you're a parent all the time. No checking out. You're always on. You're stuck, right? You're on this ride. It's challenging. And raising kids today is different than when our parents raised us. Like, I didn't have a water bottle as a kid. When we got in the car to go somewhere, I didn't have snacks. I didn't have a tablet. Seatbelts were optional. Like, I remember laying in the back of the window. Like, I laid in the back like this, and then, boom, slam on the brakes. I come rolling down. I get right back up in there. But nowadays with kids, you can't go anywhere with, do you have your water bottle? Do we have enough snacks? Do I have enough stuff to entertain you? And so it's like, this is challenging. It's challenging to be a parent today. We see Scripture says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. So you raise up your child in the ways of the Lord, and when they grow older, it will always be embedded in them. They will have the decision of what they want to do with their life, but you train them up in the way they should go, and it will always be with them. How do we do this? How do we do this in such a challenging time as we live in today for parents? Because God says it's time for order in our home. We spent the last month talking about the roles of husbands and wives. Today we're talking about order in the home as it relates to parents. How do we bring order to our home as a parent? Now listen, I'm not an expert. Okay, I've been a parent for 5 years. And so I don't know everything about everything, but I believe God has given me some general principles, some practical application points that would relate to all parents across the board. I've ran this message by parents who have 10-year-olds. I've ran this by parents who have 18-year-olds, college students, okay? So these principles are across the board, regardless if you have a newborn or a 50-year-old, because again, you're on this ride for life, okay? You parent your 40-year-old, your 50-year-old, right? My dad still has advice and counsel and things that he's experienced, that he's instilling in me, even in my young years. Not a time to laugh. I heard it. I heard the chuckle. I clearly heard that laugh, Devin. Okay? Now, this isn't just for parents, again. This is for aunts, uncles, grandparents, older brothers, sisters, parents-to-be, teenagers. You one day want to get married and have kids. This is good stuff for you as well. Again, God says it's time for order in our home. It's time to bring order to our parenting. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to give you 5 things, 5 practical application points, 5 general principles that would bring order to your parenting. That's our plan for today. If you're with us, let everyone hear you say, it's time. It's time. Okay, first thing, be patient. Be patient. Be patient in 2 areas. First, when planning. You should absolutely plan to have kids. I would suggest if you're married, if you're about to get married, be patient for at least 3 to 4 years post-marriage, okay? Don't have kids right off the bat. Wait at least 3 to 4 years after getting married to have kids. Why? Because you need to learn how to be a husband before you learn how to be a father. You need to learn how to be a wife before you learn to be a mother. Again, we talked about this for the past month. The roles of husbands, the roles of wives. You need to learn this. You need to get this down before you enter into another phase of your life. Don't bring a child into disorder, okay? Get your marriage in order. Get a handle on that before you bring a child into this world. And so be patient when planning. Aside from that, be patient and enjoy each other. Enjoy your single marriedhood. Because once you have kids, again, single marrieds, it's over. I don't mean it's over as in your life is over, but I do. That single married life is over. There's no more sleeping in. There's no more sleep. There's no more staying up late. There's no more, hey, you want to go here? Let's go here. There's no more, I'm sick. I want to stay in bed. I don't feel like this. That's over. There's no more, let's just pack up and go on a vacation and go somewhere. That's over. And so enjoy single marriedhood. Be patient when planning. Learn your roles first before you have kids. Once your marriage is in order, your finances somewhat in order, health insurance in order, your careers in order, your home in order. Once your life is in order, then talk about bringing a child into this world. Be patient when planning. Jesus says, which of you, desiring to build a tower, does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it? In other words, no one builds a house without sitting down and planning. Okay? You want to build a home, you want to bring order to your home, order to your parenting? Be patient. Be patient when planning. But no matter how much you plan, you can never fully be prepared to be a parent. You can read all the books, watch all the movies, talk to all the people in all the world who's ever been a parent in their life. You will never fully be prepared to be a parent. This is on-the-job training every day. And every day is different. And every year is different. What applies to parenting a 5-year-old is different than a 10-year-old. What's different from a 10-year-old is different from a 15-year-old, from a 25-year-old. And so you're always learning. You're always growing. It's always on-the-job training. You will never fully be prepared to be a parent. And you need to understand that. Because I believe some people are here waiting to be a parent because they want to gather enough information before I enter into this. You'll never fully be ready. You'll never fully be ready. But be patient when planning. And because you'll never fully be ready, because you'll be very much, no, I take that back. Be patient when parenting. Be patient when parenting. What I mean by that is you have to understand these are kids. They're kids. They're not 30 years old. They're not 40 years old like you. And our irritability as parents often comes not with our frustration with them, but with us. We don't have the ability to regulate our emotions. And when things don't happen how we want, when we want, why we want, we become irritable, we become angry, we get frustrated, we scream, we yell, when we try to impose our will on them. Well, that's when we come in and, you have to be patient. You have to understand they're kids. They jump on stuff. They jump on stuff. You know what I do when I go to a hotel room? First thing I do, man, I jump on the bed. And so if I jump on the bed as a grown man, I expect this 5-year-old, this 3-year-old not to jump on the couch. They jump on stuff, okay? They make messes. They pee themselves. They poop themselves. They scream. They cry. They're overly emotional. They have tantrums. They break stuff. They make stupid choices. They fail tests. They get into car crashes. They're kids. And we have to be patient when we're parenting and understanding they're not adults. They don't have the ability to logically think. And yet what we say is, why don't you think before you act? Did you not think about this? No, they didn't think about that. You know why? They can't. Their prefrontal cortex, the ability to make logical decisions, is not developed until a person's in their 20s. And so they can't think before they act. They don't make logical decisions. They make emotional decisions. They're all emotional. This is why teenagers make some of the dumbest decisions you've ever seen in your life, because they don't think it through. It's all emotional. You know how much dumb stuff I did as a teenager that afterwards I'm like, dang, didn't really think that through. Didn't really think that through at all. As a matter of fact, thinking didn't even enter my brain. I just reacted. And so do they. You have to be patient when parenting and understanding they can't think before they act. Listen, you still make dumb choices. You're still learning. And so if we as grown adults make dumb choices, if we as grown adults are still learning, if we are not who we are today as we were 5 years ago, how do we expect them to just have it right all the time and not get in trouble? You're still learning. You still make dumb choices. Be patient when parenting, understanding they're kids. We expect a toddler, a preteen, a tween, a teen to act like an adult when we don't act like adults sometimes. So let me ask you, are you patient with your kids? Are you patient in your planning, single marrieds? Are you patient parents with your kids? Are you quick-tempered? Are you allowing your kids to be kids? A hot-tempered person stirs up conflict, but the one who is patient calms a quarrel. It's important to de-escalate the situation. It's important to maintain your composure. It's important to be patient when parenting, not just for the sake of your child, but for the sake of your spouse. Okay, my kids are acting goofy. I hear my wife yelling. Guess who comes down the stairs? What's going on down here? Ah! Right? That's right. Because my wife's up here, my kids are up here, and so I'm coming in up here. Right? When I'm downstairs and I'm up here, she's like, yeah, I'm up here too now, right? But when we de-escalate, when we're calm, well then, that has the ability to keep your kids calm, to keep your spouse calm, to keep your house in order, right? To simmer that kettle that's boiling of anger down. But if they're up here and you're up here and she's up here, she's like, yeah, let's just live up here. And now we're just irritable and angry. And now the littlest thing sets us off and it's like, man, be patient. Stop jumping on the couch. Roar! My wife does this. She doesn't jump on the couch. She tells me. She's gotten really good at telling me, hey, it's okay. It's okay. And what that does for me is like, it is okay. Jump on the couch. Go ahead. Right? They're kids. We need to be patient when parenting. We need to be patient when planning, because nothing tests marriages more than kids. Nothing tests marriages more than kids. This is why the second thing you need to do to bring order to your parenting is be partners. Husbands and wives. Husbands and wives. Fathers and mothers. Married partners. Married partners. Married partners. A team. Now, this is hard sometimes to be partners because each of us thinks we know best. Okay? Baby's crying. Dad's like, baby's hungry. Mom's like, no, she's teething. No, she's hungry. No, she's teething. I know best. I know best. And now we're fighting each other over this child. We're not being partners. We're being competitors, not companions. We're hinderers, not helpers. We're fighting because we think we know best. Being a good parent doesn't necessarily strengthen your marriage, but having a strong marriage absolutely strengthens your parenting. I'll say that again slower because that was good. Being a good parent, you could be the best parent in the world. That doesn't necessarily strengthen your marriage. But a strong marriage, having a strong marriage absolutely strengthens your parenting. This is why it's crucial, again, to learn your roles as husbands, to learn your roles as wives, before learning your roles as parents. We use the illustration of a two-person volleyball team, right? There's a setter, there's a spiker. They're a team. They work together. Sometimes when parents are like this, the setter sets and then blocks the spiker. A two-person basketball team, you got a passer and a dunker. They complement one another. They're teammates. They're helpmates, right? They have a common goal. What it looks like sometimes when parents go at it is the passer will pass the ball and then block the dunker. And we fail to realize we're on the same team. We're one flesh. We're husband and wife. We're father and mother. Okay? We need to be partners. We need to be partners, which again, April, women's conference and men's conference, you need to be there. The women start off the weekend in April, women's conference, talking about marriages. But again, it's not just for married people. It's for all people. Good marriage, bad marriage, old marriage, young marriage, pre-marriage. Women, you need to be a part of it. Then the next weekend, men, you need to be a part of it. A strong marriage strengthens your parenting. This last Wednesday in the common gym, there's a sign-up sheet on the church office, by the way. We failed to put this sheet out there. I dropped the ball again, sorry. Special guest speaker this Wednesday. He's going to be talking about, again, strengthening your marriage. What it takes to have a successful, godly, orderly marriage. This Wednesday. What I would love for you to do is go outside these doors, turn right, and sign your name on the last Wednesday sign-up sheet to bring some food. It's an amazing time in the gym. We gather together for fellowship, for food, for faith. And we have a special guest speaker that's going to be furthering our messages on marriages. Again, you need to be a part of it. Single parents, if you're hearing you're single, wow. Seriously, wow. I thank God for my wife. Without my wife being my partner in marriage, without her being the mother, I don't know what I would do, right? So if you're a single parent, wow. Don't know how you do it, but I praise God for you. You also need to be partners. Who do I be partners with? You need to be partners with the Lord. You need to go to the Lord for everything. Now, we all need to be partners with the Lord. Single parents and married parents need to be going to the Lord for everything. He's your source of strength, of wisdom, of direction, of discipline, of all these. We all must partner with him. So let me ask you before we move forward, are you partners? Are you partners with your spouse? Are you on the same team? Or do you know best and she knows nothing? Or you know everything and he knows nothing? Are you partners? Are you companions or are you competitors? Are you helpers or are you hinderers? Two people are better off than one, for they can help each other succeed. This is what Ecclesiastes 4:9 says. You need to be partners. Your kids need to see unity. Your kids need to see love. Your kids need to see forgiveness. Your kids need to see you do the things you tell them to do, which is why the next thing you need to do to bring order to your parenting is be practicing. Be practicing. You practice what you preach. You live what you teach. You show them. You do. You be. A sad statistic is 70% of teenagers, 70% of teenagers, when they become of age to decide whether or not they will go to church, they leave. 70% of all teenagers leave the church when they become young adults. 80 to 85% of those teenagers that remain in church, the number one reason for why they remained is if they see this faith stuff lived out at home. If mom and dad are practicing, they remain. And so what that tells me is 70% of the teenagers leave because 70% of the parents aren't practicing. This is why it's an important principle to apply. You need to be practicing. They need to see that you believe what you say you believe. They need to see you practicing in conduct. They need to see you loving. They need to see you forgiving. They need to see you ask for forgiveness. They need to see humility. They need to see prayer. They need to see worship. They need to see you in devotion. They need to see you reading the word. They need to see you giving. They need to see you witnessing. They need to see you serving. They need to see you not engaging in sin. They need to see this stuff. Anyone can talk. They need to see. They're watching. They're sponges. They do what you do. You need to be practicing in conduct. So let me ask you, how do you act in front of your kids? How do you treat your spouse in front of your kids? If you're constantly yelling and disrespecting and fighting, that's what they see. Well, that's just what they'll carry with them. Do they see pride? Do they see arrogance? How do you act around your friends? What do they see? How do you act around strangers? What do they see? Are you the same at home as you are on Sundays? What do your kids see? Are you practicing in conduct? Speaking of the Pharisees, Jesus says, practice and observe everything they tell you, but do not do what they do, for they do not practice what they preach. They're hypocrites. Listen to them, but don't do what they do because they don't do what they say they do. You need to be doers of the word, not just hearers, not just talkers. You need to be practicing in conduct, practicing in communication. We need to be encouraging our kids, building them up, being respectful, praying with them, praying for them, praying over them, sharing the things of God with them, leading in the teachings. My son said something last week. It was funny, and at the same time, it was frightening, because he's very much like me. I am a perfectionist. Okay, I have a standard of things, and it's perfect. And if it's not perfect, it's just like, makes me angry. Probably why we spent 21 hours on the floor, because I had these guys pull it up 7 times and then lay it. No, we didn't do that. But I have a standard of perfection, and unfortunately, well, most men do. Men are performance-based, and so they have a standard, and they want to be perfect, because that's how they feel they're looked at, they're judged. It needs to be perfect. This little boy has sadly inherited that trait. He's coloring or something last week, and he gets really, really angry when things don't go his way. If he colors outside of a line, if he's trying to build something and it breaks, he gets really angry. And my wife says, it's okay, it don't have to be perfect. And this 5-year-old boy says, it absolutely has to be perfect. And I was like, oh, dang. And so when it's not perfect, he gets really hard on himself. And so he needs constant encouragement, constant building up. And we're very active in doing that. Cichy, you are a great big brother. You are a great son. You're a leader. You're creative. You're strong. You're funny. You're my best friend. You're going to be this. You're going to be that. Now, you take that type of practicing in communication, and let's contrast it with, you know what? You're right. You're never going to figure it out. You're stupid. You should just quit. Don't do that. Don't try. Don't go there. You know what? You're never going to amount to anything. You're never going to be anything. You're never going to measure up. You're nothing like me. You're a mistake. You're a mistake. We should have never had you. Some parents talk like that. Okay? Don't talk like that to your kids. They need encouragement. They need love. They need to be built up. They are little sponges, and they're so vulnerable at that age. You need to be practicing in communication. So let me ask you, how do you speak to your kids? How do you speak to your kids? What's the tone like? Is it always up here? Is it always angry and yelling, and you're always doing something wrong? You're constant timeout. You're never doing this. You're always wrong. How many times do I got to tell you? Is it always up here? Because if it's always up here, they'll carry that on themselves. Or do you speak with love? Do you speak with encouragement? Do you build up? Or is there humility? Is there grace in your tone? How do you speak to your spouse in front of your kids? Is it always up here? Are you always fighting and yelling and arguing and cussing? Or are there an exchange of I love yous? Is there prayer? Is there encouragement? Is there truth? How do you speak? What's your communication look like at home? What do you sound like in the presence of your kids around other people? Ephesians 4:29 says, don't use foul or abusive language. Let everything you say be good and helpful, so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear. Building up, words of encouragement. It's so important, parents. You need to be practicing in conduct, in the things you do. You need to be practicing in communication, in the things you say. The fourth thing is you need to be purposeful. You need to be purposeful with this Jesus stuff, with the things of faith. I want to share with you a statistic. I love statistics because they're real. There is a 0.0296% chance your child will become a professional athlete. Okay? 0.0296 professional athlete. There is a 0.0086% chance they'll become a famous celebrity. 0.0086 famous celebrity. 0.0296 professional athlete. Okay? There is a 100 guaranteed certainty they will stand before Jesus one day. And so you need to be purposeful in the position that God has placed you in their life and preparing them for that moment. Purposeful in your discipleship, intentional, unwavering, persistent in your teaching, in your training, in your devotion time, in your molding, in your shaping, in your raising up. Purposeful in your evangelizing, sharing the gospel with them, making sure they understand it, sharing the things of faith, the testimonies, the things that you're experiencing on a daily basis because of your obedience in Christ. You're sharing with them, God did this, I saw God do this. You need to be purposeful in sharing these things, purposeful in your praying with them, praying for them, praying over them, pleading with God on a daily basis until He does so. Save them. Save them, God. Reveal yourself to them in ways that you've revealed yourself to me. And then more, I want them to know you, God. Move in a way I want them to know you in a personal, intimate love relationship every day. Purposeful in your worship, in your public worship. They need to see you worshiping. And I'm not just talking about singing, although I'm talking about singing. Are you worshiping in public? Are you worshiping in private? Are you worshiping with your life, with your heart? Do they see this? Are you purposeful? Are you intentional? Are you making it your goal? This kid's going to know Jesus. Purposeful in your living, again, in your practicing, in your conduct, in your conversation, your character. Be purposeful in your disciplining. Disciplining. Because we're talking about parents, I want to pause for a brief moment and talk about disciplining. I can't say it fast. Disciplining. Spankings. We're going to talk about spankings. Okay? Spankings are biblical. Spankings keep your kids in line. They keep them upright. They keep them on the path. Proverbs 13:24 says, whoever spares the rod hates his son, but he who loves him is diligent to discipline him, to spank him. The rod If a father does not spank the child, he hates him. That's it. He hates him. I don't love you because I'm not taking the measures that I believe I need to take to train you up in the way that you should go. Spankings are biblical, so long as they're not done in anger, so long as they're not done in excess. You ought not discipline the child in anger, and you ought not abuse them. And it is, biblically, seeing the father's primary role to administer discipline. Whoever spares the rod hates his son, but he who loves him is diligent to discipline him. So we see the husband's primary role. So long as the husband is not disciplining in anger, so long as the husband is not disciplining in excess, and the wife must support the husband's discipline. Again, so long as it's not in anger, so long as it's not in excess. What your child cannot see is the father administer discipline and the wife come to the child's defense and rebuke the father. There's no unity there. There's division. You need to be one unit. And so while discipline's being administered, wives, it's your role to support the husband, to help him, so long as it's not in excess, so long as it's not in anger. Now, wives, women, what you need to know is fathers discipline boys differently than girls. And it's because the father is not disciplining a boy. A father is instilling manhood, is bringing out manhood of that child. And so the father will be a little rougher with the boy than the girl because the father knows the world we live in and he is raising a man. Okay? So he's not being rough. He is doing what he believes God has laid on his heart that he needs to do to instill manhood, to bring out manhood in this child. But it would appear at times that we're rough. Perfect example, okay? My son runs in here, falls down, scrapes his knee, starts crying. My wife may come over and pick him up, where I would say, leave him alone. Let him get up on his own. Let him dust himself off, wipe his tears, keep going. Don't run and comfort him. Oh, how cruel. No, because the world ain't going to do that for you. And you need to learn manhood. That's a part of being a man. And so it seems cruel. Guys, a little help? Amen. Okay, yeah. Now here's how fathers discipline daughters. They don't. Moving on to the next point. So my wife and I think we have an agreement, or we're learning as our kids get older. I discipline the boy, you discipline the girl. Fathers, what your role is in the life of your daughter is to teach her the man that she ought to be marrying. Okay, so I'm going to make it really difficult for all you 3-year-old boys out there that want to marry my daughter one day. I'm the standard in this girl's life. Okay, and I'm going to raise that bar so high, okay? I'm teaching her, peanut butter, this is who you marry. A guy like me, okay? My wife is a woman. I'm not. I don't know how to raise a woman. So I'll leave the discipline to her with the girl. I am a man. I know what it takes to become a man. She leaves the discipline to me. But a phrase that needs to be feared, that needs to be respected in every household is, you want me to tell your dad? You want me to tell your dad? Boy or girl, although the husband, the father, is a little bit more tender and gentle with the girl ought know, no, I don't want you to tell daddy. I don't want you to tell daddy because I fear daddy. Healthy fear. I respect daddy. I see him as an authority figure, as a disciplinary figure. Every household has that phrase. I act like a goofball in my house when my mom says, wait till your dad comes home. Oh, no, Mom, I'm so sorry. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? And it wasn't even that I received spankings. It's just, this is a man. I get away with what I want to get away with a woman. But when the man comes on scene, it's like, this is different. This guy's different. He's strong, you know? Spankings are biblical. If you don't spank your children, if you don't discipline them, then they will grow up knowing no boundaries. They'll run wild. They'll have no respect for anyone. You need to discipline them to keep them in line, to keep them upright, to keep them on the path. So let me ask you, as before we move forward, are you purposeful? Are you purposeful in your prayers with your children? Are you purposeful in your evangelism, in your teaching, in your singing? Are you intentional? Are you instilling values? Are you enforcing rules? Are you disciplining? Are you purposeful? Is it your goal, your number one top priority goal, that this child comes to know Jesus? Or is it sports? Is it play? Is it entertainment? It should be this Jesus stuff. That's your number one top priority goal, and you need to be purposeful, intentional, committed. Deuteronomy chapter 6, we see these words I'm commanding you today are to be upon your hearts, and you shall teach them diligently to your children, and speak of them when you sit down at home, when you walk along the road, when you lie down, when you get up. Sounds pretty serious, right? Tie them as reminders on your hands. Bind them on your foreheads. Write them on the doorposts of your house and on all your gates. Seems like you need to be pretty purposeful, pretty intentional in the training up of your child, parents, to ensure that they come to know Jesus, because they will 100%, with a guaranteed certainty, meet him. Parents, it's your primary. You are the primary source of faith. Parents, you are the primary source that God is going to use to instill faith in your children. And so I understand some of you here today are like, but I'm still new to the faith. I'm still new to this stuff. How am I going to instill faith that I'm still learning onto a child? I don't know how to do this. Great news. We're going to teach you how to do this. March 9th, we're going to have a ministry fair. What a ministry fair is, the heads of every ministry is going to have like a little poster board. We're going to gather in the rubber gym, common gym, after service, and you're going to be able to go around tables and get some information from the heads of the ministry: tech, security, worship, men's, women's, fellowship. And you're going to have an opportunity to be involved in what's going on here, because that will be the message of the day. It's time. It's time to get involved. No more just coming and going. It's time to plug in. It's time to be active. It's time to serve. It's time to get involved. And so you have an opportunity to see all these ministries for you to be involved in. One of those ministries is children's ministry. Now, I believe that if you have kids in children's ministry, you should be required to serve in children's ministry. Nursery, first grade, second grade, fourth grade, in some capacity. You ought to be required, if you're bringing your kids there, to serve in children's ministry. But I also know that some of you shouldn't be teaching kids. And so not everyone should be required, okay? But it is strongly encouraged. Men and women, if you have kids in children's ministry, it's time to start serving in children's ministry. In order to go where God's leading us, it's going to take all of us being involved. How do I do that? How do I serve in children's ministry? How do I teach? How do I manage a classroom? How do I do this stuff at home? March 16th, the Sunday after the ministry fair, will be a training day. If you sign up to be a part of the tech booth, you'll be trained the following Sunday. You sign up to be a part of greeters and ushers, you'll be trained the following Sunday. You sign up to be a part of children's ministry, even if you're not fully a part of the children's ministry, you want to learn how to instill this stuff at home. March 16th, there'll be training after service. Child care will be provided, so you don't have any excuses. It's time, parents. It's time to bring order to your parenting. Faith starts at home. No more excuses of, I don't know how to do this. We are going to train you and teach you how to do this, because it's time. God says it's time. It's time to bring order to our parenting. In order to bring order to our parenting, we must be patient when planning. We must be patient when parenting. We must be partners with our spouses. We must be practicing in conduct, in what we do, in communication, in what we say. We must be purposeful, intentional in the training them up of the things of faith. And the last and the most important principle that we need to apply to bring order into our parenting is we must be present. We must be present. We must be there in the moment, at the time. You know who was just born last week? You probably don't know this. You know who was born just last week? Just last week, my 5-year-old, your 10-year-old, your 17-year-old, your 30-year-old. Just last week, we brought this little baby home. This little baby. He's going to be 5 in a couple weeks. Just last week, you brought home your 10-year-old, your 15-year-old, right, parents? Just last week. It goes like that. It goes like that. My wife and I, we saved clothes. We had the boy, we saved the clothes. We had the girl, we saved the clothes because we were going to have a third. And we know it's a girl. And so there's a bag of clothes sitting that we got to go through that I don't want to go through. Because attached with those clothes, those shoes, those toys are moments, are memories. And it's almost as if when I say goodbye to these clothes, I'm saying goodbye to the baby. I'm getting rid of the memories almost. It's just very emotionally attached to it. I remember my son, we used to co-sleep, we had a routine every day. We'd go to church, we'd come home, we'd nap together, and then at night he would sneak out his bed and come into my bed, and this guy kicked all night. And I'm like, man, I can't wait till the day and I can just sleep by myself. And I didn't know when that day would be, but it came. And now there's nothing more I would want to do than just to spend it. I would love to spend a night with him, with my baby. But it's gone. I'm never going to get that back. You see, when I talk about being present, there's going to be a last moment, and you never know when it's going to be your last moment. There's a last diaper change. There's a last potty training. There's a last spit up. There's a last bottle feeding. There's a last night when you're going to wake up and have to put this kid back to bed. There's a last co-sleep. There's a last day when they're going to want to talk to you. They're going to get to an age and they're going to want nothing to do with you. There's going to be a last car ride, a last movie, a last night that they stay in home. There's going to be a last. And you never know when it's going to come. They don't prepare you for this. I'm sorry. They don't prepare you for this. This ain't, you don't learn this in Parenting 101. It's like a slow breakup, man. It's like a slow breakup. They grow, and you want to keep them small. But they grow. They don't prepare you for this. But there's a last day. It comes for all of us. The baby's no longer a baby, man. Be present. Be present. My only regret, the only regret I have as a 5-year parent is not being more present. I was present. I'm not like a bad dad. I was active. I was intentional in the moment. But there were days when I was like, man, I just leave me alone. I just want to be left alone. Days when I'm just mentally not there. Physically not there. I'll play on my phone. I'll play a game. I'm not active. I'm not present. And the only thing these kids want is for you to be present. You understand? You are their faith. You're their favorite people in the world. I watched a video. This guy was interviewing parents, and they were like, hey, if you could have dinner with anyone in the world, alive or dead, who would it be? And each parent was like, oh, this famous person, this political person, this actor, oh, I would love this. And then they asked all the children, if you could have dinner with anyone in the world, alive, dead, superhero, who would it be? Every single kid said mom and dad. you're their favorite people in the world. Be present with them. Man, they're kids. It's a moment. Every season is so short-lived. The newborn phase, gone. Toddler phase, gone. Preteen, gone. Teen, it just goes, man. It goes. Be present in the moment. This is the most important thing. Be present. Get off your phones. Get on the ground. Get into their lives. Play games. Take them to movies. Go for car rides. Talk to them. Listen to them. Color. It's so short-lived. Be there. Be there. Hebrews 13:5 says, keep your lives free from the love of money and be content with what you have, because God has said, never will I leave you, never will I forsake you. So it's like, what does this love of money have to do with the presence of God? It's not so much love of money. It's the presence of God far exceeds anything in this life, and it's in knowing that He's with you, that you don't need anything. It implies the importance of the presence of a parent, man. They feel safe with you. That's why they want to be around you. They're not trying to be annoying, although they can be. But if you just switch your mind and think, man, this is a gift. God has blessed me with a gift every single moment. This child speaks to me. Be present. Be present. This is our last slide. I cried a whole bunch more in the first service than the second service, so thank you, Lord. But I don't manufacture this stuff. This is real. And every parent in here can say amen, because I see you wiping tears as well. You know, be present when you leave here today. What did God say to you today? Because I know God spoke. Because I don't speak of my own accord. I don't put this stuff together. I don't know what you're going through. I just pray. I say, God, what do you want me to say? And then I get it, and then I say it. What did He say to you? Which one of these points hit? Perhaps it's all 5. What did God say to you? Take what God said to you and go to Him in prayer and say, God, I hear you. Here it is. Here it is, God. I want to give this to you. What's He revealing to you? Maybe single parents or pre-parents. You're single, you're not married. What came out in this message that God may be preparing you for when you do become a parent? What God revealed to you today? Go to Him in prayer. Let's all rise as we close. Go to God in prayer with what He revealed to you. What do you have to confess today? Maybe it is your irritability, your lack of patience. Maybe you're not partners with your spouse. Maybe you're not practicing what you're preaching. You're not being the best example, the man, the woman that God's called you to be for this child. Maybe you're not purposeful. Maybe the things of God are second, third, fourth, maybe, but they're not primary. Maybe you're not present. Maybe you're just there. Maybe you're just existing. Maybe you're just a figure. Kids know dad, but they don't know dad. Kids know mom, but they don't know mom. Mom's around. Whatever God revealed to you today, go to Him and confess. God, here it is. Here it is. Whatever God revealed to you today, ask Him, God, do it. God, do it within me. Make me, God. Cause me, instill within me. This is your moment now to respond. You heard what God said. What's your response? And as you're thinking through your response, I just want to leave you with one last question. What would your life look like if you applied these 5 points to your parenting, to your uncling, to your brothering, to your grandparenting, to your friending? What would your life look like if you applied this to your life? What would your home life look like? What would your kids' life look like? What would your kids' life look like if you brought order to the home, if you brought order to your parenting? Well, it would look like what God wants it to look like, because God's the one that says it's time for order. It's time for order in our parenting. And so let's not imagine church. Let's do. Because at Families of Faith, we don't play the church. We are the church, the flagship church. We're going to close in worship. And I want you to go to God in prayer. Go to God in worship. Go to God in whatever you're going to God with right now. Sing these songs. Sing these words. Listen to them. Believe them. It's a prayer of blessing over you and your children, your children's children, for generations and generations. Receive this blessing. Bring order to your home. Amen.